Morning, Chavra. Today is the 19th of Nisan. I'd like to dedicate today's class to the memory of my grandmother's yahrzeit, Rendel Bas Yitzchak. And here we go. We're on page 95. Today's the 19th of Nisan, as we mentioned. It's a Thursday morning, the third day of Chol HaMoed Pesach. And in today's lesson, if a person fails to arouse a true mental or emotional fear of Hashem, it's not easy. You wake up, you just want to daven. Now you have to stop and meditate and figure out how to come up with a fear of Hashem. It's not so easy. I mean, if you read what the Alter Rebbe suggested, you could probably get to that point. But let's say he didn't. Still, nevertheless, we are able to fulfill the mitzvah of serving Hashem. How? Let's see why. But what if one finds it impossible to arouse a feeling of intellectual awe of Hashem? What if he finds it impossible? We're on page 95 in Chayenu, chapter 41 of Tanya. Even if in the case of an individual who even in his mind and thought feels no fear or shame, it's like, I'm not there. I don't see Hashem. I don't sense that he is angry with me. He lets me do what I want to do. I don't feel it. I'm just going to go ahead and do the mitzvah anyway, but I don't feel that yira. And we were talking yesterday about accepting the kingship of heaven. So he just doesn't, I know God's in my life, but I just don't look at him like the king over me right now. All right? That's where he's holding. Why is he on such a level that he's not able to accept God as king and put his mind in that, put himself in that frame of mind? Why? On account of the limited grade of his soul originating in the lower levels of the 10 spheres of Asiyah. His neshama is just not inspired right now. It's on a low level. The soul of this individual derives from Asiyah, the lowest of the four worlds. Moreover, within the world itself, it originates from the lowest degree of the 10 spheres. Since his soul stems from such a lowly level, he finds it impossible to reveal within himself a sensitivity to Hashem, even an intellectual fear of Hashem. So meaning it's hard for him to think, I'm going to be scared. Hashem is the king over me. I have to be either a servant or I have to serve God as like a son to a father. I'm not feeling it. Nevertheless, since he is intent in his service to serve the king, this is unequivocally a complete service. Hey, listen, I don't care what the servant's thinking. Just do your job. So if a person does the job, it's good enough to, as he to say he's on the level of serving the king. The fact that he's doing the job shows that even if he's not feeling fear, but he's on a level of serving the king. He knows if he doesn't serve the king, that's not a good thing. He has to serve the king. Something might happen. For fear and service are counted as two commandments of the total of 613, and they do not exclude each other. So thus, although this individual fails to fulfill the command of fearing Hashem, for fear must be felt in one's heart, and at the very least in one's mind, he is nevertheless able to fulfill the precept of divine service by studying Torah and performing the mitzvahs with the intention that he is serving Hashem, the king. So maybe he's not able to work up the fear, but just by serving Hashem, doing the mitzvahs, learning Torah, he's already on a level. Furthermore, as a matter of fact, he not only fulfills the obligation of service, he also fulfills the commandment of fearing Hashem by introducing fear into his thought, by thinking about it and seeking to arouse it. Okay, I stopped to contemplate and meditate on Yiras Hashem, but it's not working. But you stopped to think about it. You already reached the mind. There you go. Yeah. You're introducing the idea by thinking about it and seeking it out. Maybe you're not Yeah. What do you mean? Okay, stopping, not stopping, whatever the case may be. He wants to reach that level. It's the old, Pinchas Shrisman, all of a sudden, we used to say, I'm an aspiring Beirari. We used to say in yeshiva, I want to learn, in the proper way. I want to want. So the minute you want to, even though you didn't reach that level, we're talking about here, try to have Yiras Hashem before you do a mitzvah, before you learn Torah. So I'm trying, it's not working, I'm gonna learn anyway, but I haven't reached that level. You thought about it? Good. It's something. I'll call upon him. Moira Shamayim Alav, I'll call upon him. Kemoira Basav Adam, Hedyet, Lepachais, She'ene Melech Hamabit Alav. For at this hour, in this moment, at any rate, there rests a fear upon him, the fear of heaven. At least one's fear in the presence of an ordinary mortal, even not a king who is watching him. He's sitting there, he's about to daven. Listen, if you're davening at home when no one's watching you, and you're davening in shul where you feel there's people around looking at you, people act differently when anyone's watching them. So even if you're not able to reach the feeling of the King of all kings, Melech Malchei Amlochim, is watching over you, but you still feel like you're standing, you're about to daven. You're going to daven differently than if you would have not been davening, or if you would not have been focused on doing a mitzvah. Shenimna ba'avurai milasais davar she'enai hagun be'enov. When he would refrain from doing anything unseemingly in others' eyes. The fact that he's getting ready to daven, and the fact that he's sitting down to learn, maybe it's in front of other people, and he's worried, by the way, we don't do things for other people, but everyone's always concerned. What are other people thinking? So whereas his disciplines protest, no more than this. Oh, wait, I skipped something. I'm sorry. Shazai nikres yira kemoisha amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai l'talmidav. This, even the simple expression of fear that somebody is watching me, is termed fear. As Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to his disciples, may it be God's will that the fear of heaven be upon you like the fear of a human being. Nobody likes confrontation. Somebody says, what are you doing? Somebody yells at you, right? Doesn't feel good, right? So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says that the fear of Hashem should be like the fear of another person. Like if somebody confronts you and says, don't touch that, it's mine. You get nervous, right? So his disciple says, not more? He responded that the proof that this is indeed true, a form of fear, a true form of fear is as follows. For you know that when a person commits a sin, he says to himself, I hope no one saw me do it. If someone saw you, what's the difference? Hashem saw you. Yeah, but I'm more scared if somebody else saw me do it. Right? Unbelievable thing. So such fear held Rabbi Yochanan would ensure that they would refrain from sinning. By the way, this is why we make hachlot a little bit same general concept, but on a birthday or at a special occasion, when we make a hachlot, a positive resolution, we say it out loud publicly. Why? So that a friend could say, you said you're going to come to Minyan. What happened? You announced it. You're going to come on time. You're going to learn such and such. Time says he's going to learn Rambam every day. Sometimes I peek over, did you finish today? He knows that I know that he said he was going to do it. Otherwise, if he didn't say anything, you just do it. And if nobody knows, nobody cares. And last night, actually, he sent me the picture of the Rambam of the day. It's very interesting because the chicken put his head in a glass bowl and the bowl, and then he shrieked out, and the bowl, a rooster, and the bowl broke. Is the owner chayev? Not. He's like, it's so comical, certain, scenarios that the Rambam brings. Anyway. Such a fear that you're going to fear heaven on the level of fearing a person, it's called the lower level of yira. It's called fear of sin, which precedes yira la, yira baishes. The higher level of fear is shamefaced fear, meaning the state of being ashamed in Hashem's presence. Is yira v'is yira. There are two kinds of fear. The lower level, where you're you fear sin. It's the fear of transgressing rather than the fear of Hashem himself. You're like, oi, I miss Sfira. Someone asked me, they missed Sfira the first night, which is the second night of Pesach. Steve, you hear this? They said they counted at 7:45 or so, right? Shkia is 7:38. So I told them they should go ahead and say the bracha. They should say it without the bracha. The first day they said it by themselves without the bracha. But then I was so happy because I looked in and I see, according to the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, that Bein Hashmoshes you could say with a bracha. And also I remember Rabbi Lesh is teaching us that it's better to try to find the leniency there, especially it's the first night, so that the person will say it with a bracha each and every day thereafter. Otherwise, imagine they missed the first night. They're like, we already missed. All right, whatever. We'll try to say without the bracha for the rest of it. But you lose your steam. So here, imagine they feel so embarrassed they missed out on the first night. Like, hey, you miss out the 27th night. Okay, I did a good 3 weeks plus, almost 4 weeks. The first night? Is yira. There are two kinds of fears. The lower level of fear, which leads to the performance of Torah mitzvahs, and the higher level of fear, which results from the proper performance of Torah mitzvahs. Ava b'li yira klal, le'parcha le'elav ha'ava levada. K'moi ha'oif eina yachel lifroyach b'kanaf echad. Without any fear at all, one's fulfillment of Torah does not soar on high to the supernal spheres through love alone. Just like a bird. Can a bird fly with one wing? No. It needs 2 wings. Love and fear are the 2 wings. Love is the right wing, it's chesed, and yira is the left wing, which is gvura. So too, if you're only full of fear and dread and admonition and this embarrassment and everything else, that's not good. We need the ahava too. So fear alone is not good, even though it's termed the service of a servant motivated by awe or fear. Person also has to serve Hashem with the characteristic of a son. It's right here, look. This is David, right here, David. Listening so nicely. To waken at least the natural love of Hashem that's hidden in one's heart, so that he should at least become conscious of it in his mind. To recall his love of Hashem in his thought and in his desire to cleave to Hashem. This should be his intent when occupying himself in Torah or with a particular mitzvah that he's about to perform. That his divine soul, his godly soul, as well as his soul that gives him life, the outer soul, together with their garments, should cleave to Hashem, as we explained above. In summary, a Yid's service must embrace both that of a son, who serves his father out of love, and that of a servant who serves his master out of fear and awe. So the takeaway for today is really a beautiful lesson today. Yochanan ben Zakkai told his students, may it be the will that your fear of heaven be at least comparable to fear of man. Before you want to act in a certain way, think, would I be acting this way in front of a friend? That's it for today, folks. A good mayed. Smile for the camera. A good mayed and a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.